this into context for us. Instagram doing better than Twitter. How does it face up to its parent company, Facebook? And also, are international users as valuable as domestic users?
All great questions. Let's address a few of those. So, first of all, the numbers we get from Instagram are given out in a very sort of peculiar way. They'll tell us in a press release when they get to the number, but they don't report in their quarterly filings. They don't report it when Facebook reports earnings. I should say Facebook, of course, the parent company to Instagram, having purchased Instagram back in 2012. But what we know is at the end of December, they gave us this 300 million, or the middle of December, this 300 million user number. And then today we get this number of 400 million. And you can see the growth rate. While it's still much smaller than Facebook, you can see that it's not only growing really fast, it's grown to be something even bigger than Twitter. And that's important for Instagram because they're just starting to find ways to monetize this and use the way that people are clicking on those pictures so often and using mobile to do so much more than on the desktop. But Instagram being very sort of judicious in their use of advertising and their monetization of the business. But the growth numbers, fantastic. I think what it shows you is that they've been so careful not to screw up the user experience with very careful tweaks to it. The design has largely stayed the same. The pictures are, for the most part, still square, but those growth rates are through the roof.
Yeah, Corey, you made a good point about monetization. I mean, those growth numbers are great. It's good to see, obviously, for the company, but they have to make money on that. Where are they in the process?
So I think the way Facebook looks at this is there's a couple of ideas here. First of all, the idea that if people are going to Instagram or they own Instagram, at least they're not going to some other social media site. They're not going away from the Facebook platform to consume social media. The integration between Instagram and Facebook is also not to be taken lightly, that a lot of that Instagram usage is showing up on Facebook, and Facebook is a place where they monetize more. But yet, look at that, there's a picture of me on Instagram with 50 Cent, really? That happened. But yes, the Instagram usage numbers are reflecting that they're also starting to get some advertising revenue from that. I think it's a reasonable question to ask if investors are going to demand that more detailed information out of Facebook. And I want to bring up that chart again that showed us the growth rates between the different social media platforms of Facebook against Twitter and against Instagram. Because just since December, you've seen really dramatically better growth, if we can pull that chart up again, the dramatic growth of better than 30% growth from Instagram, far and away above what we're seeing from Facebook or from Twitter.
Well, of course, Facebook is also dealing with the law of large numbers. It's harder to move that number by that amount when you've got so many members. What about the fact that most of these users or the growth is coming from outside the U.S.? What's interesting about that?
Well, so what's interesting about that is that, and it's a great question, I'm glad you re-asked it, because the numbers are going to be smaller. We know about the monetization of users on mobile is worse than the monetization of users on desktop for the most part, but also that internationally, the way people, advertisers see those users, they generally get less in terms of revenue per ad. So that's a less money for Facebook in the end. But the growing internationally is going to be a big deal for these guys just because there are so many more people they can get to.